like, what's going to happen? Say, okay, they speak Korean. Hi, I'm a teacher. Okay, and they'll start speaking English right away, and then they'll go, do you want information on how to get your pension out, or do you want your pension balance? Okay, I want my pension balance. Okay, so then they'll tell you you've been paying in for this many months, and this is your total. And if you have a problem, they'll go like, wow, it looks like your employer didn't pay last month in your pension. Okay, and then your next question, well, what do I do about that? And they will respond with, oh, don't worry about it. And that's it. Seriously, that's what happens. And then you'll go, and then let's say you have a chronic problem. This has happened a few months. Well, you have to explain this to them for about 10 minutes. And then they'll give you the Jeonju number to call. And then they'll have you request this form. Let's see if we can get it in there.
Oh, it's that green light.
That Kyung whatever.
Yeah, it says Yeongun pension right on top.
Right. And it's in the PowerPoint.
So is it pretty much just the best idea to call the number at the top?
Call this number. If your balance is correct, then you have nothing to worry about. And then you can go on with your day. If the balance is incorrect, and again, you can use the Excel file attached with this to check how much you're supposed to pay. If the pay's around what that is, it's okay. It shouldn't be less or more than $100.
So if it is incorrect, ultimately you're gonna have to call the second number
Right.
anyway. So
But this number alerts them.
right.
Like if you haven't paid for a long time, like example, there was a guy that didn't get paid 1,000,000 won out of his thing, and he called this number. They said, "Oh my God, you didn't pay this much. We're going to call your employer and take care of this right now. They will do it for you."
Hmm.
And then after that, they'll say, "We're going to call you back with information later," and then they'll give you instructions probably to come here. But honestly, if you have a really bad problem, they'll fix it in Seoul.
It's
Over
a
the
crime.
phone.
It's a national pension.
It's
and
a
national
crime. Now let's say you get deducted and they don't pay into pension, but they're still deducting from your paycheck. That's double crime. They're not paying into pension, which is illegal, but they're deducting from you about pension.
Fraud.
That's fraud and stealing, and then you can take your paychecks to the police office and file fraud charges.
Oh wow.
So
That happens quite a bit.
So the police are the ones who really take care of
The
it.
charge is not.
Pension takes care of the pension.
Yeah.
But if you pay, let's say you're deducted way too much money, like let's say you make 2.2 million and your paycheck is 1.6 million after taxes. You're just like,
1/4 of your
yeah,
paycheck.
a quarter, 25% of your paycheck. At that point, you just take your pay slip to the police and be like, "What the crap?"
Yeah.
And they'll either direct you to the labor board or they'll take care of it themselves because it's fraud. You can take out your pension anytime, but once you take out your pension and you're paying more pension in at that current employer, you can't get any more of that money. Meaning, example, I worked public school for my first 2 years. If I resign and I want to take out my pension after my first year, that whole second year, I can't get any of that pension back.
Until you finish that contract. Yeah.
So the best idea for pension is to wait till you finish your entire contract with that employer. And when you switch employers, then you request your pension and get it out. Requesting
Oh, wait a minute. If you get your pension after 1 year,
let's say
and then you're working for another year at the same employer, you can't never get that back.
because you
Whoa.
already requested it in the first
Ah.
year, unless you come in on a different E2 visa.
Okay.
Your E2 visa is extended every year, right? If you're resigning,
You only get one
you
shot.
only get one shot on pension. Why do you need to request this? You should request this anyways, because a request actually alerts the government if the employer is not paying the pension.
One shot per visa.
Just giving that phone call, and if they're not paying, it alerts the government. If your employer does not pay 3 months consecutively into pension, they will get a fine. If they don't pay 1 month, they'll get a double. They have 2 months to make it up.
Do you know if They will, like, if you keep asking and it's known to them that your employer is not paying, they will, I assume, call the employer.
The first time they call the employer. The second time they'll send a letter. The third time they'll actually seize the assets of the employer.
Do they say to the employer, your employee has reported that you are not taking pension? Or do they just say, we have noticed that you're not paying pension?
We've noticed you're not paying pension. Please pay
Because it
pension.
puts the employee in a tough spot for a couple of
I agree.
whiles.
You can make it look like you did not call the pension office. They do random checks sometimes. At that point, the employer would get audited, actually.
But either way, you're sitting in that
Also, pensions deducted every month on the 10th. If you get paid more than 40 days after your first day of work, you should have a double deduction on your first paycheck. Example, my first paycheck at Wusoc Day, I get paid 47 days from when I start working. So that first month, when I got my employer paid my pension and both sides of the pension the first month. The second month I was double deducted to make up for it because they have to pay before the 10th. And this is a picture of pay rates. This is a 2.15 pay rate. Oh, sorry. Right here. For this is your deductions of the percentages. My payment, my employer's payment, right? So this should be after deductions how much money you have. Here I have it a little bigger. A 2 million rate.
So all pension, tax, and health insurance totals are given to you from the same source?
No.
So you had to go find them and put them together.
Right, which is why I gave you all those phone numbers before.
It takes a little bit of work.
And yeah, it takes some work. You'll be calling a lot of phone numbers. You have to do it during the day, business hours, government office.
But these totals can all be acquired by using English-only lines.
Yes. You can. They will be able to speak English from the phone numbers I gave you to check these.
My paycheck has this stuff written on it.
Yeah, you work for a public school.
Oh, it's only public schools.
Well, some places do not offer. Everyone should be offered a pay stub, and like I showed you before.
Q&A.
Stacy had a
Ladies
good
first.
question. Thank you. We're talking about when do you get pension? Or when do you apply for it towards the end of your contract?
Your pension rebate.
For your pension rebate, you need to do it. What's going to happen is you're going to go to the pension office with your plane ticket for your leaving.
You have to have your plane ticket with you
Right.
to prove you're leaving.
To
I
prove
heard
you're
that.
leaving.
And your passport.
And your
Prove your-
passport,
And your bank book.
your E2 visa would probably be a good idea, and your bank
You
book.
get one
Back
kind
in the
per
United
visa.
States.
Wait, you mean your ARC card?
Yeah, your alien card.
That's your visa.
Yeah,
right?
that's your visa.
So you get one claim per visa, and you got to prove that you're terminating this visa. Okay.
So what happens when you go to the pension office? They're going to say, "Are you leaving?" Yes. Okay. They're going to get your bank account number to the United States, and then just like you wire transfer money back home all the time, it's the same thing, and it does take about a month to process. Now, if you go to apply a month before you're leaving, you won't get your last month pension on there. You follow me? Because you requested so early. You will get the money right when you arrive in the United States a month later, but you won't get that extra $180 that you would have paid that last month because you requested too early.
Okay, wait, but I am actually leaving the country 3 months before the end of my contract.
That doesn't matter.
So,
I mean, when you leave, the moment you request it, it takes a month to process to get to your bank account in the United States.
You don't have to finish your contract. You have to terminate your visa.
so I'm going to not get the last 3 months of my pension?
Right.
Oh, okay.
We're not
Because
gonna pay it
you didn't pay it, so you're not going to get it. But like, let's say you're leaving in 3 months, and you want to get your pension. You know you're going to leave 4 months before that. You apply for pension. That last month you're working and you get that last paycheck. That will not be included on your pension refund check because you requested too early. Because it will be deducted, but
Well,
it
I'm
will be
still
deducted after
actually-
the fact you requested it.
I'm still actually getting paid even though I'm not here, though. That's the thing. I'm not breaking my contract. It's maternity leave pay.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, if you're pregnant and you're going to go back home,
Then your 3 paychecks are coming.
then your 3 paychecks are
Yeah.
coming. You just won't get those pensions.
Yeah, you can't
You
get
won't get that pension unless you come back to Korea to
Yeah,
get
my
them.
bitch. Okay, that's silly. Yeah.
Or that's a very rare case.
I know.
I guess the men can turn off the video right now.
Sorry.
I'm pregnant.
I'm pregnant too.
Anyway,
The other program. There's different programs in working in Korea. Also, I know my
uh,
brother's in the Talk program. The
and
Talk.
Epic, does it also count for that too?
No, Epic's different from Talk. The
Okay.
Talk program is a scholarship program that pays 1.5 million every month to their employers for working 15 hours a week, which is ridiculous.
I'm glad it had that cheer for that part too.
Yeah,
I
Yeah, it's
saw.
good cheer.
Um,
Good timing.
Because it's a scholarship program, technically,
Right.
they don't pay pension and they don't pay health insurance, the national health insurance. They
Right.
pay a different student health insurance. It's a lot cheaper for them, and you're not deducted out of that.
But are you covered?
He's covered, but it's different coverage. It's not as good.
As long as you not wind up in a hospital with $1 million worth of bills.
It's not as good coverage. It's student coverage. The same if you went to Chumbuk Day University,
Some coverage.
and it's some coverage,
Right.
but it's not the best coverage.
So
it
there,
doesn't cover as much.
so there's no pension for that program.
There's no pension for the Talk program, nor is there a severance bonus for the Talk program.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a program you signed up for.
But
Any,
it's cushy hours.
Yeah.
any other questions?
In order to get your pension refund, you have to leave.
Yes, you have to leave.
Then I'm not going to get.
Okay,
I
let's
might
say
choose it.
I'm on an F2 visa. Let's say I'm on an F2 visa, and I have many employers. I've been paying into pension for 5 years. And I decide that my retirement is better suited in the stock market in the United States instead of waiting on government. And I want my pension payout. All I have to do is show a plane ticket when I go home for Christmas or something like that with my
Wow.
kids and mom.
Even on an F2 visa?
Even on an F2 visa, you just show that thing. And then you say, I want my pension. I'm not coming back. Because they don't know if you're coming back or not.
Unless you have a return flight booked on the ticket.
Well, you just don't show that part.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So when you request that, you get a payout. Now, a lot of F2 visa holders will work for Ichiwans or some other things that don't pay into pension. So at that point, those obviously you don't get that pension. But from when you first started at your Hagwon job, like I know you worked at UCC or something like that.
Yeah, worked in 2 hot ones.
So all that pension should still be in your account, and you should be able to get it back right now
If
you
I
show them a
leave the
plane ticket.
country. Yeah, or
Yes.
or fabricate.
If you fabricate a
Can I
plane
borrow
ticket.
If you've lived in this country for quite a long time, and you've since separated from like your original employer, is there a timeline of how long after, like, do you have to apply to get your pension like within a certain time frame, or can you do it any time in your entire life?
You can do it any time in your entire life.
Okay.
Because it's
So-
pension.
It's pension. It's going to be in that account as long as you have your alien number and you can prove you are you. And it's in a lot of different countries the same. Example, my mother's German, and she requested her pension fund from Germany last year, 30 years after she left. And she got a big payout of like $50,000 from her pension. She worked 20 years in Germany. So, yes.
And does I guess this is a little bit even more different, far removed. When you're in like the States working somewhere, do you also get a pension fund there?
Yes, it's called Social Security.
Oh, I see.
You're on this. Oh, you're thinking the same thing as me. I'm thinking, hey, I worked for many years in Canada. Can I just say?
No,
I
they
want
don't have
that.
that. If you have any questions, please relate back to the judge.
All of this information will remain
Ah.
available on the Judge Hub's Legal Matters page.
So,
www.thejudgehub.com.
so check it out. And thank you. Bye.